Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone from all our Gracie Barra family around the world. Welcome to the GB Online Chat Show every Saturdays. And it's been a great experience for me to be here, with you all every weekend. And I have great news. Next week, there will be also a chat show in Portuguese. Okay, so we're gonna be extending our our space for the chat show, and we're gonna add one show for Portuguese on the Friday. Ok, at 2 p.m. Pacific Time, 6 p.m. Brazilian Time. Ok, pessoal, galera do Brasil, uma grande notícia para todos nós. A partir da semana que vem teremos o nosso chat show em português, na sexta, todas as sextas-feiras, a partir das 6 horas da tarde ou da noite aí do horário de Brasília local, tá? Então, uma surpresa legal para todos nós. And that's it, guys. I'm really excited. And then on Saturday, we'll have also our chat show, but a little later. It's going to be at 12 p.m. Pacific time. Okay, but there will be no class after that, so we'll be able to spend more time talking with our guests and be able to have a better experience. Okay, and don't forget, you guys are more than welcome to please chat, send out some comments, tell where you guys are from, so we can give a shout out for all your schools and all our friends around the Gracie Barra worldwide. Okay, guys, so there we go. Today we have an amazing guest, Professor Felipe Della Monica, or Felipe Furão, that's going to be with us here. He's the head professor of the Gracie Barra headquarters in Irvine, in California, which is a big title. It's not everybody that has this honor to lead a headquarters, and that we're going to be talking. We're going to be try to understand a little bit more the story of Professor Felipe Della Monica, or Furão. So, Furão, are you there? Let's see here.
Hello.
Sorry.
Can you hear me?
What's up, man? Okay, Professor. Good to see you.
Hello, Professor. How are you?
Always good mood, always in a good mood. So good to see you. Always great energy. And Professor, I was going to ask at first, okay, where your nickname came from. But when I look at you, man, you cannot get away with that. It's just like why you call you ferret? Terror. The Furão is the ferret. But I think it's with age it became more visual. Tell them that.
Professor, first of all, thanks for the opportunity. I'm a big fan of yours, you know that, and it's a pleasure to join you here in this chat. I'm looking forward to a good conversation. Thanks so much for the opportunity. The nickname Furão, it's when I was a kid. I was walking in the mall with some of my friends. They're all older than me, and then we passed through an animal store that sells animal, and there was a Furão over there, a ferret. And then they look at the ferret, like, man, this looks like you, looks like your face. And they start like they're funny bully on me, like, oh, you look like a Furão, you're a Furão. And that's how it started. I was like 13, 14 years old. And today I have friends that I know them for a long time, and they don't even know my name. They just call me Furão. If you ask them my real name, they don't know.
That's crazy, isn't it? Like, this is typical our culture, especially in the south of Brazil. You're not from Rio de Janeiro, from Belo Horizonte, right? And
yeah.
When did you start jiu-jitsu? Like, you start in your city, or you have to go away to have the opportunity?
I'm from Belo Horizonte, state of Minas Gerais, and I started to train when I was 13 years old. I started to train jiu-jitsu, and it's something that I've been doing full time since then. And I was a city that had a lot of jiu-jitsu, and in Brazil, Rio and São Paulo, they're like the main states for jiu-jitsu on the 1999 when I started. And then Belo Horizonte came right after, and a lot of jiu-jitsu competitors come from Belo Horizonte as well. And that's how the journey started. Yeah. Can you hear me, Professor? Hello?
1 second. He just killed his mic. Here he comes back. Here we
Hello.
go.
Hello, hello,
All right.
hello. Can you
Yes, I
hear
can hear
me?
you, Professor. Yes.
Ryan? Hello? Ah, I'm back.
Oh, you're back.
Oh, sorry, guys. There's something here on the connection. But yes, and man, it's so crazy that like so many people from Belo Horizonte, they have such a big uh, crew, like fighters, always being very successful coming from that region. Is like what is because there's no beach or what's or you guys just fight? Why do you think there's so many celebrities came from there?
Man, I think because we're not on the coast, there's no beach there. Is one reason because less distraction, and it's a big city, has mountains, has a lot of outdoor activities, but it really when jiu-jitsu started there and I first started to train, I felt like at the same time that's a big city, there's not much to do, there's like a lot of limitations, and jiu-jitsu is like you can do all day, and I think that is one of the reasons of why jiu-jitsu grew so much over there, and in Minas Gerais, and there's a lot like Romulo Barraus from there, Draculino's teaching there for many years, and it's a lot of people. Marcelo Garcia is from the a little bit from other city of Minas Gerais as well. A lot of guys from there, yeah. Felipe Pena, yeah. So many good talents from
Gabriel,
from Belo Horizonte. Yes, yes. So many. You
crazy.
could name a lot here. Yes, a lot of guys from there.
It's incredible. And then you went, you left Brazil, went to California, right? That you started your experience out there. Then you went to Chicago as well to kind of teach all that. Can you tell me a little bit of that transition from Brazil to California first, then you be sent to Chicago and your experience out there, and then what changed on that experience that when you came back to California, you took a little bit more serious as a school owner?
Yeah, I came to United States in 2007. It's been almost like 13, 14 years ago, and I was working with Professor Marcio, Master Carlos, and at some point I went to teach at Chicago. I was based in California, but Professor Marcio asked me to go to Chicago to help out the growth of Jiu-Jitsu there, Gracie Barra Jiu-Jitsu in Chicago, and I did spend time there. It's a city that I love. It's an amazing city, and I spent like overall like almost a year, but I was going back and forth. I was like 6 months there, 3 months in California, and at that time, when I moved to United States, I was like 22 years old, very young, and trying to find the best places to train hard. In my mind, the idea was just like I need to train as hard as I can, train with the best. That's one of the reasons I came to United States to be close with Master Carlos Gracie Jr., close with Professor Márcio Feitosa, Professor Piu Piu, Professor Flávio. They were all here already, and it was an incredible experience. Here I was teaching classes at GBHQ, also Gracie Barra Orba Linda at that time, under the guidance of Master Carlos, Professor Marcio. Then when I went to Chicago, I was like leading more. I was the highest rank, and I was leading the program over there, and was a good contrast of experience. One I was here more learning how to do things. I learned so much, and over there I was just displaying what all that I learned, and the travel, is always a amazing experience. Before come to United States, I actually went to Europe. So I was 6 months in Germany. I went to Germany to teach and to compete at Europeans, and to expend some time in Europe was also a good experience. So when I moved to United States, was my second experience with the Jiu-Jitsu outside Brazil.
That's awesome, Professor. And Philip, because every time, every tournaments, every World Championships, especially in my career when I used to go there, pretty much I'm there every World Championships. If it was fighting or watching or supporting the team, and then I remember in the very, very, very old times when I used to go there, I used to train, always being there with us, competing, and I could see that every year that I used to come, when I come back and I see you, I've seen you much comfortable and becoming a part of and actually leading by example, like one of the leaders. And I think you went to school in Saddleback, right? It was the Gracie Saddleback.
I'm sorry, Professor, you're cutting a little bit.
The Saddleback, Gracie Barra Saddleback, was your first school that you spent there. You focused on 5 years, and I remember it's not easy to be competing at a high level and start a school. But I noticed that you are evolving a lot and get more deep and deep on as a school owner or something that you want to kind of progress and improve within the schools. And you spent 5 years there. And how was it 5 years in the Gracie Barra Saddleback when you start something new just for you for the first time?
It was awesome. It was one of the best experience of my life. I was teaching, like I said earlier, with GBHQ, and then at some point, Professor Marcio, Master Carlos told me, Furão, I think now it's time for you to go and on your own journey and start helping us, spreading out jiu-jitsu. You're ready. You can do things. You don't have to be here under teaching under us. You can do your own school, and they are always supporting and supporting me to go forward and push to the next step. That's when I opened GB Saddleback, which was an incredible school. I was there for 5 years, teaching all the classes, 7 a.m., 12 noon, 4 p.m. until 8 p.m. every day. And I start to learn more the operational side and like how to operate a school, the teaching as well, creating their own group there. And it was a school not too far from GBHQ, it was 10 miles away. A lot of the students still very connected. I was still very connected with all the training partners, all the professors here, and it was a great memory, when you first go, like, okay, you're going on your own now almost like on a daily basis, and it's something that made me grow a lot. And I learned so much by watching others. I learned by making mistakes. And every time you make a mistake, you learn and you improve. And it was an incredible experience. And then after 5 years there, it happens that I had the opportunity to go back to GBHQ, join forces. And it was the long story, but it was the journey, coming out and then doing one thing and then coming back, rejoining and getting even stronger. It's been incredible. Yeah.
Man, and I've been following you every year. That's what I'm saying. Like every year that I came back, I could see you more mature. You more grown up within the team as an example. And like also Felipe Guedes as well. I could see that you guys are very connected with with Marcio, Flavio, Bill, Master Carlos Macy Jr. I think the more you stay connected with the main team, that is the main leaders, we get so inspired, right? And then you when you first thought was like competition, then you came here, experienced the living out of jiu-jitsu, and then you were like encouraged and motivated to open your own school, a big responsibility. But then you were invited to be the head professor of the Gracie Barra headquarters, which is an even bigger responsibility, because you're not just being a professor of a Gracie Barra school, but at the headquarters, which is you probably were the very first one that was on that took that place. And then how did you feel, Furão, when Master Carlos Gracie Jr. presented you with the picture that will be from now on be put on the main dojo upstairs at the headquarters? What did it feel for you after all these years of commitment?
Man, that was a big landmark in my life. I compared that day as important as the day that I had my kids born. Like if you put it together, the two most important landmarks in my life: the day my kids born and the day that Master Carlos surprised me with my own picture to be hanging on the GBHQ. And I cannot express in words how much that means to me. That day, I have a video here from that day. Every time I watch Master Carlos' speech and giving me the picture, I get very emotional, And it is a big responsibility. It was a transition. It was a path that started like when I was 22, when I moved to United States, I started getting very close contact with Master Carlos, Professor Marcio, and they guide me so well to do everything, to which direction to go as far as inside, outside the mat, the teaching, how to teach. In at very young age, I already fell in love with the teaching and with the being on the mat, sharing jiu-jitsu. And even at the time that I was competing so much and I was already enjoying the teaching part, and I really tried to pay attention on learning teaching the same way I was learning technique to perform. I was trying to pay attention to the instructors, how they teach, how they position themselves on the mat, and the outside lessons, outside the mat lessons as well was very important to me. And that day was in a training camp. I think it was a training camp for Pan Am's, and Master Carlos made that speech like before me. It was only his picture and Professor Marcio Feitosa's picture inside GBHQ, and then he made a nice speech. I can share you guys later. He said I was gonna be the third person to have a picture inside the main mat area at GBHQ, and it was a surprise. I didn't know. I was on the training camp. We line up at the end, and then people start showing up. My wife started showing up, and then Master Carlos started that speech. So it wasn't planned, and it was a very special, very, very special. I guess everybody knew. I was the only one that didn't know. And I was already teaching at GBHQ for 2 years. And Professor Marcio Feitosa, the head instructor, I was the chief instructor, teaching class on a daily basis, helping on the operational side. And that day was when it became official. Okay, today you are going to be the head instructor. And then Professor Marcio is the co-founder. His name is the co-founder. Master Carlos is the founder. I am the head instructor. Very special moment in my life, Professor. Yes, very special.
Man, it is. It must have been like a fireworks of emotion coming up on your brain at the moment.
It's been a while, and I still processing that information. It's still like it's such a big deal for me.
Man, this is, and it's such but it shows that everything that you'll be working for, that what you'll be put into practice, you spend your time into it, and it's being recognized, right? Because I think anybody who trains under Gracie Barra, if he had that title, would be like, man, this is like, you cannot get much better than that. It's not only a responsibility, but the recognition of a very good work that you get put into.
Thanks so much, Professor.
You deserve, man. Look, talking about the hard work and all that, because you've always been very hard work. You can see that you're very inspirational the way that you work out. You always train really hard, and you, as you said, you were very much on the competition mode in the beginning. And then how did you deal with that transition from competition to school owner and full on that mission? Because it's a difficult one, right? Because I've been through, everyone who's been a competitor before and then transit to being a school owner and focusing. I want to just know what was in your mind, how you dealt with it.
Yes, great question, Professor. I started to train at the age of 13, and then I went all the way. I trained so hard, and the main focus on the first years of training was all competition, compete and do good in competition training. You're young, you're a teenager, then you go like 20 years old. I got my black belt very early when I was 20 years old, and I moved to United States to compete at the World Championship in 2007. And then I had an opportunity to teach here with Professor Marcio, Professor Master Carlos. And right at that moment, my goal when I moved here was I just want to spend time as much as I can with Master Carlos, Professor Marcio, and all the amazing instructors. And I want to train as hard as I can, Right away, I was presented with the opportunity to teach as well, with something that I also did in Brazil and I did in Europe. So something that I really enjoy. And I was balancing a lot. Our training used to be in the morning, competition training, all the instructors get together, and we train once a day really hard. And then the other times, lunch, evening, we used to go and teach classes. And as we teach classes, we also train with our students. There was our second training of the day, And then the mindset was still the competition, still to improve and get better, and be better in competition only. But naturally, you're already teaching every day. And when we teach jiu-jitsu, improve our skills too. And it's very rewarding to see the students getting better. So at a very young age, I was already so into teaching that I knew, like, man, this is gonna be something that I really want to do my whole life. And as I start getting older, right now, next month I'm gonna be 35 years old. But I think, like, when I was like, I reached the 30 years old mark, and they say now you're a master, right? In jiu-jitsu, after 30 years old, you become a master division, which is we still like in the best shape, but you like categorize like, man, you're now becoming an old guy, right? That's kind of, and everybody in jiu-jitsu like this. And then when I start flipping more things and like to start to focus more on the growth of focus more on the students and not much on myself anymore. Even that, I still training hard every day. I train today as hard as I used to train when I compete, but not signing up for tournament as much to have that pressure that you have to go and compete, and filter that energy more to the teaching, to the growth of the school, to the students. And for me, there was a very, very natural transition because I didn't have to stop training hard. I just stopped competing. I used to compete every month, and then I start competing once every 6 months. And then I took a break, like I didn't compete for a year, and then go back, do some tournaments. Then I accept being a master division. Then I compete a little bit as a master division, and filter that, change the direction of the focus. And it's something that I really love to do is the competition. I tell my students I still compete every day. When I am at the academy, somebody good shows up, or a friend, Professor Kyron, Professor Otavio. When we train together, it's like a competition. When you watch, you know that more than me, Professor. When we train together with high-level friends, we go like competition. And I almost have that feeling of competition that the hard work, the tough part of the training, have to deal with some Otavio smashing you is not easy. And I was able to enjoy that, and have that the focus direction. First saw, for example, Professor Márcio Feitosa, when he stopped competing, and he started focusing his so much on Gracie Barra and helping the students and grow Gracie Barra. And I was young, I didn't understand. I was like, man, how Professor Márcio, how he do that? Why? How can he not sign up for tournament? Because for me, the biggest deal, man, I need to sign up for tournament. If I miss, I feel really bad. And I was watching him, man, I don't understand. And I was, Professor, why don't you compete next tournament? And he was explaining, oh, my competition career, I did what I had to do. Now my focus is different. It took for me a couple of years to process. And then as I start reaching the same age as he was at that time, and then I could understand more. And now it happens with me. I see people, why, Professor, why don't you're in a good shape, you're training hard. Why don't you go compete and keep competing at the highest level? And then I try to explain to them, like, it's no longer my biggest priority, even that we still want to stay up to date to jiu-jitsu and grow and learn all the evolution of the sport. But it's more like if I compete now, it's more like for fun. I still want to do my best, of course, still want to go and win because I'm competitive, but it's no longer for the gold medal. It's more for the benefits of the competition, But it's funny how the age kind of tells you naturally how to do that transition. For me, it was very natural, yeah.
Yeah, it's very true. I was speaking to Master Carlos Grace, and he, for me was really, I've always been very competitive. That's the reason why I started training jiu-jitsu, And for me, it took a little longer, even through my injuries, even the neck injury as well. I think was a big kind of a warning for me because it can affect something outside of the mats. But one thing that Master Carlos said to me that it's really smart. It is, Braulio, you should focus on things that are getting better with the time. So look at now. You're 37 years old. I'm not now, but when I was having this conversation, you're 37. Is the competition gonna get better with time or not? So what is getting better with time? So that's the focus that I start kind of analyze my life and That's when the curve started. Like, you know what? I change my focus for myself on that one, because like when you compete, it's very selfish, isn't it? Like it's all about us. It doesn't matter if the world disappears. It's all about that gold medal that only has space for one person, right? So it's fully selfishness, right? But when you join in the mission, in the fight that is to spread it all, like for example, not like to be one thing first. You want to be successful in what you do, and then next stage, what's the next stage is to make someone around you to be successful as well, and then like for example, look,
Sorry, Professor, you cutting a little bit here.
there.
Hello?
Hello.
Professor, you cut it. Now I can hear you. You cut it like for 15 seconds. I missed the last 15 seconds.
Are you guys there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you
Hello?
hear me?
Yeah, it's got to be my connection, guys. I'm sorry. So, it happens the same thing with you. Like, for example, you went to Chicago, you experienced a little bit of how to teach just on one school to build. Then you came back to California and went to settle back. You focus on your school 5 years, and then now you've been put there to be successful. That's why it was the idea. Like, okay, put on. Now the idea, look, we already have the headquarters. Now you go there, be successful. And someone else took it over, and then you came back, and because of your job, you did so great. But this is how I see. It's about direction of purpose. When you have a purpose, just to good and to win competitions is very one-sided, very finite mindset. It's not like a long-term mindset, But talking about competition, okay, Filipão, there was this 300 challenge, yeah, that you're doing it. I've seen you doing it, and then you did pretty well. I didn't know how much you jump on that burpees, because your on the time lapse was either the time lapse was too fast, or you were jumping too fast. I need to sit down without the time lapse. But now, listen, we've seen Professor Otávio Souza breaking the record. And I know you've been working out a lot. You've always been really fit. I've never seen you as fit ever. You're the best shape as I ever seen in my life. And even my brother Victor, he's taking your inspiration to get him back. Victor is always being very fit. But dude, I was preparing myself, man, to do under 7 minutes, and then the guy goes and put 5 minutes and 40 seconds. And he challenged you. So the question is if like Paul has a question here, like no connection bad again, but you can see it here.
Hello?
So are you ready for it?
Yes, Professor, that's a good question. Like we mentioned earlier about competition, and when we talk about competition in jiu-jitsu, we say the highest level of competition is the adult division, when you compete against the best guys in the world. Then I stopped doing that. I went to the master division, still high level, but that's when you feel like, okay, you retire from the adults, right? You're still competing, and all these new challenges. Also, it's the same competition mindset, right? So the 300, when they first started understanding more about the 300 workout, the record was 6 minutes and 45 seconds, okay? And I've been doing my best. I'm always doing my best to be in shape, to train myself with dieting, lifestyle. And then after a couple times trying, I broke the record, I did less than 6 minutes and 45. And then And then I was like, man, this is gonna be easy. I'm gonna break this record. And then I just need to maintain what I've been doing because it was easier than I thought. Then what happens? Professor Otávio was challenged to be at the show, and I know how Professor Otávio is. He's very competitive and he's very high level athlete. But I was thinking, man, I think Otávio's gonna do close to the record, and I still gonna be able to do well. But then yesterday he brought to the next level, man. He brought to the next level. He went 1 minute, more than a minute, right, under the record. And then right away, I went to my garage here. I was trying to do as best as I could. I'm not gonna tell you guys the time that I did. I'm gonna wait for next week so I can do it live. But I promise I'm gonna do my best, and I'll try to get close to Professor Otávio's time, which is a really hard challenge. He did really super fast, but now it's a big motivation to me. I'm taking it serious, and I'm ready to have fun next week with everybody, push myself, and see if I can accomplish. Very,
Man,
very tough job to do.
we look, look at the size of my arms, dude. Just for me to push up and back, he already winning by half a second. Man,
If
I
that's
know I'm
true.
gonna try my best, but I don't think I can do 4 minutes. He's too fast. Okay, so Professor, we have some questions. Okay, from that we filmed during the week. Okay, so we're gonna put up over here. So some of people who you know for a long time. Let's go.
Thank you.
Professor Braulio Estima, how are you? Congratulations on your talk show. It's very, very good. I watched it last week with Professor Marcio. Was very, very good. Now,
Thank you.
I have a question, Professor Braulio. Talking about Professor Felipe de la Monic is very easy. Professor Felipe is one of my best friends, an amazing professor, an amazing human being. So, that being said, Professor Felipe, how has changed your life since you became a father? That's a very good question, Professor Braulio. Talk to you soon.
Oh man, Professor Marcelo Arroz, my big brother, man. Professor Marcelo Arroz, he always try to imitate people, and I think I am one of his biggest character. He always try to imitate me, like my voice and mimic, and it's always funny to see him do that. He got in trouble one time by doing that because we're in a group that we're talking about serious things and planning competition and stuff. And he was joking, pretend it was me. He was sending an audio. And one time, Master Carlos Gracie Jr. got really upset with him about that. Like, hey, this group is not for making funny stuff. This is serious conversation. Man, a lot of you watch that audio, but Professor Marcelo is a big brother to me. When I moved to California, we used to be roommates for many years. Right in the first years of United States, he was also moving to United States. I got to spend so many time with him on the daily basis, and he's a big brother to me. Today he's from Itita in Chicago in Gracie Barra Deerfield, and he's a guy that every time I talk to him, and I'm laughing. Has an amazing energy. When I am talking to him on the phone here in my house, and I start laughing, my wife already know. Oh, I know you're talking with Arroz. I know you talk with him because it's always a fun conversation with him. He's always so positive and good energy. Professor, thanks for the question, and related to the question about how my life changed after being a father. It really changed a lot, and I always want to be a father. It's something that always was a dream to me. But as soon as when my wife got pregnant, we saw that we're gonna have twins, So we're expecting one kid, and then comes two kids, And we live in the United States. We don't have much family members from our family close to us. Our family here is our network of students and everybody together, our students. And I remember doing the ultrasound, and the doctor say, "Hey, there's two." And my wife and I were like happy, but at the same time, like, man, this would be crazy, And it's been the incredible experience, my incredible journey. My kids are 2 years old, gonna be 2 years old next month. They are on that phase. They call me, and the 2 years old. They non-stop, all day. And my wife's still working. I work a lot, and we have to take care of the kids. We manage our time really well here. So she can do her stuff. I do my stuff, and it's been incredible. It's been incredible. Pushes me every time I want to do something that I need an extra motivation. I think about my kids. I think like that's gonna be for my kids, and I push the next level. For example, one of my students challenged me 2 weeks ago, like, Professor, I bet you cannot run 10 miles. Because I was telling him, I run 5 miles. He's like, I bet you cannot run 10 miles. And I say, oh, yeah, okay. And then I say, the day I put my shoes, say, man, I'm going to run 10 miles for the first time. And it was hot here in California. I have to accomplish. I have to come up with that, fulfill that challenge, And one of the things I had in my head right before I was going to run, I looked to my kids. I was like, hey, Daddy's going to run 10 miles for you. That's going to be for you. And every time I was running 7 miles, man, I started getting tired, my legs burning. And I was remember, this for my kids. And then I did an extra mile. I did 11, I remember also Professor Rominho says, if nobody wants to do the extra work, the extra mile is always empty. That came on my head. I was like, man, I'm going to run an extra mile. And then I ended up doing 11. But anyways, my kids is a big motivation to me to continue working hard, to be a better person, to be a better instructor, a better father, and just make me better every day being a father, and learn so much from them, because kids are the most transparent phase of the human being. Kids smile when they want, they cry when they want. Everything is honest. If they smiling is because they want, and we learn so much from them. I learned so much from watching my kids doing things, and how simple things make them happy, and it teaches us a daily lesson every day.
That's beautiful, man. Exactly the same. Like I had so many lessons with my kids, and it's the only way you actually can love more than yourself, isn't it? It's a crazy thing. It's a little piece of you, and it makes you go back in time and revive all those childhoods and much memories, and inspire you and motivate you to kind of be active, to build them, to spend time with them, doing what you always wanted to do back in the day. But Felipe, we're gonna go straight away back.
Your kids are very athletes. I watch a lot of your kids are playing soccer. Man, they are big athletes. It's always good motivation, good to inspire, and to see how your Braulio Estima blood, how much your kids are next level athletes, man. It's amazing.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Listen, guys, we're gonna go right away to the next one. Let's go. One more question.
Hello, everybody. Professor Kyron Gracie here, out of California. This past years, we've seen a tremendous growth in Jiu-Jitsu all over the world.
One more question, come on.
It wasn't like that 10, 15 years ago. And I believe that was around the time that Felipe made his move from Brazil to California.
Hello. Where's the question?
I wanted to ask him, how was his process? What made him take this big decision to chase his dream? And if you want to share as well the story of the day he arrived, it's a pretty funny story. I was there. It would be very nice. All right, guys. Everybody have a great one. Take it easy.
Nice. Thanks for the question. My brother, Professor Kyron Gracie, he is a guy that if I have to see the guy that I trained the most in the last few years, is him. I trained with him so many times. I learn a lot from him. And great question, Professor. Thanks so much. And Professor Kyron Gracie is like a brother to me. I see him on a daily basis. And when I moved to United States in 2007, my main goal, like I mentioned earlier, was to be close to Master Carlos Gracie Jr. And my mindset at that time, and I was 22, I was like, man, whatever it takes, I'm going to make it happen, okay? So I came to compete at the United States for the World Championship, and that was when I arrived. I remember it was me and two more friends, and we didn't have a place to stay. We didn't have anything. We just have our bags, our luggage. and we sent a message to Professor Mars, to everybody that were coming in. A lot of people were coming in at that time because it was going to be weeks prior to the World Championship. And what's funny, I remember arriving at GB HQ in Lake Forest, which was a small warehouse with our bags and everything. And we came straight from the airport. And at the moment I got there, Kyron was there. I remember right the moment that we arrived, Professor Flavio Almeida was trained with Roger Gracie at that moment, exchanging takedowns, just two of them. We're like, man, this is so cool. Professor Marcio was there. And then we came in, and Professor Marcio, hello, guys. Good to see you guys here. Thank you for coming. It's going to be a great camp. Where are you guys staying? And then we're like looking to each other. Like, well, Professor, I think we're going to stay here at the academy. Our plan is to sleep here on the mats. And he looked at us, and he's like, how you guys are moving around? You have a car? And he's like, no, we're going to take the public transportation. We're going to take bus. We didn't know that here in California, in Orange County, the public transportation is not as good. So it's not like buses and train everywhere. You have to have a car to be able to move. Anyways, Professor Marshall looked at us. And the third question, he's like, you guys hungry? And we're like, yeah, man, we are hungry. Just came from the airport. And he was laughing. He's like, all right, let me take you guys to eat something. And I'll help you guys to find a place to stay. And I'll help you guys to go rent a car and to have a way, be able to move around. But that's how I arrived in the United States. I arrived to the competition with the dream to be close with Master Carlos. Professor Marshall gave us a big support. And then that day he helped us rent a car, was very cheap car. He found a small hotel for us, very affordable. We didn't have much money, but me and my friends were able to split and pay. So we are here for like a couple weeks training, and that's how everything started. And then I was looking for an opportunity, to stay and train and stay as much as I can on the mat. Eventually, I had an opportunity to begin teaching, and that's the beginning of the journey in the United States. Master Carlos, Professor Marcio, the Gracie Barra gave me so much opportunities. I took all the opportunities. I did my best until the place that to be where I am today. But there's a lot of funny stories, like to be able to just show up with nothing and don't even worry where I was gonna stay. All I want to train on the same mats as Master Carlos Gracie Jr. The rest is the rest. Whatever it takes, we're gonna do it. And fortunately, we're blessed that everything went great. And today to have so many friends like Professor Kyron, everybody that are close here to us, it's amazing. Learning so much from all of them. Even Professor Kyron is younger than me. When I moved here, he was a purple belt. I was already a black belt, but he was that type of purple belt, that purple black, When he was a purple belt, he was like a black belt already. So I remember I used to train with him every day, back to back, and he is awesome. Yeah, thanks for the question, Professor.
That's awesome. Hey, Professor, I want to put this on from Anthony from Gracie Barra Marcel. I'll translate a little bit because I think it was something of a change on the grammar. Hello, Professor. I'm from Gracie Barra Marcel. I am a beginner in Jiu-Jitsu, and I would like to know what did Jiu-Jitsu bring to you mentally, if your vision of life has changed, and if you feel bad about yourself.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the benefits of Jiu-Jitsu to me go beyond the mat and the technique, okay? Speaking from my own experience, because I started to train Jiu-Jitsu at a very young age. And I remember today, with almost 35, I started going back and analyzing my childhood, my personality, we start self-analyzing our personality. And I remember being a kid, very shy, like I had trouble doing communication. Every time I had to go to school and it was a day to do a presentation that we have to go in front of the class and do a presentation of projects, I didn't want to go to class on that day. I made excuse. I pretend I was sick because I had like that insecureness. I had fear to talk to people and to be on the spot. And I think after I trained Jiu-Jitsu, it gave me so much self-confidence and changed so much my personality and changed so much who I am, because this is one of the biggest things that Jiu-Jitsu gave to me as well, how much it changed it, how much when you do something that improve your self-esteem and your self-confidence, how much that impact you when you were, especially at a young age, when you were like 13, 14, you're going through those ages where you're going to begin a teenager, where you start having your own opinions of things, and you have your parents guiding you. And I was able to have also the jiu-jitsu professors, friends, and guiding me through the path of the sport to be better, like all the benefits of jiu-jitsu lifestyle, to eat better, to be a better person. Inside the mats, we all the same, and don't matter who you are when you're on the training mat, we all the same. That's another big lessons that jiu-jitsu taught me. That don't matter the car you drive, don't matter how the clothes you wear. When you go inside the mat, you truly see who the person is, and you stop like judging them, like you don't judge the book by the cover anymore, because deep inside everybody is different than sometimes how they show on the outside, and be able to see that on a daily basis. I think all of jiu-jitsu practitioners, professors know that Master Carlos say that inside the mat you cannot lie about your personality, because you put under scenarios of very uncomfortable scenarios. You put on scenarios that you're winning, you're losing, you're gassing, and that really shows who you are on those moments. And doing that on a daily basis, you got to know everybody. So those lessons to me, jiu-jitsu was the main ones, to be able to connect, to learn. I was lucky to have big mentors, in my life, friends close to me, people that I used to see competing in the magazines, Gracie Mag. At that time was not much internet, and you see those pictures, people competing, and you want to be like that person. I remember watching you, Professor, winning all the tournaments, and even after I was already a black belt. For example, watching you winning the ADCC, winning World Championship, I just made me, man, I need to work hard to be like Professor Braulio Estima, and by doing that, have mentors like you, like Professor Marcio. It kind of give us so much motivation and change us. So I think this is more important to me than the actual learn a new technique and be able to perform, which is also, since us came from a competition background, is something that we always want to get better inside the mat. But the outside the mat is the biggest things, that the biggest accomplishment, the biggest life lessons that I got from jiu-jitsu. And it's how inspire us to be a better instructor, a better person every day. So other people can also benefit from that, like something that we have to share because it's so impacting our lives, right?
Yeah, correct. And then that's the beauty, isn't it? It's like the same concept that we've been talking about. We are, firstly, we need to take care of ourselves. We need to get ourselves a little bit of a purpose. When you understand, now we want to pass it on to people so they have the same, and they can pass it on to people. And then we end up getting motivated by motivating someone else to motivate others, and becomes just like a snowball of positivity. And this is also amazing to be part of it. So Filipão, we're gonna go straight away back to back because we have a few questions still, and the time is getting close.
Ok.
Olá, pessoal. Olá, Braulio. Tudo bom? A minha pergunta para o Felipe é a seguinte: nesse tempo de quarentena aí, o que ele está achando? Que ele tem me ajudado bastante em casa, tá dividindo aqui todas as tarefas com as crianças, com a casa, e a gente está se dividindo aqui por causa do trabalho, né? E aí, então ele sempre foi muito presente, mas agora está tendo que estar muito mais, porque a gente está sem ajuda. Então, o que está mais difícil aí para ele, mais desafiador, né? Ajudar em casa com essa rotina maluca, ou se adaptar aí a esse novo programa, né, de treinamento aí online, com business, com jiu-jitsu, ensinar essas aulas online. Essa aí vai a minha pergunta para ele.
Awesome.
Do you want to translate, Professor, or want me to translate? Do you remember?
Whatever, I can translate, Professor. Yeah.
No.
My wife, guys, first of all, my wife, Fernanda, I love you, Fernanda. And she was asking about now in this situation of quarantine, what has been the hardest to me? The adaptation of jiu-jitsu, teaching online, and all the great adaptations that we are doing. at home because we don't have a babysitter. It's just me and her, and we have to take care of the kids and share everything at home. And which one is being the hardest challenge to me right now? And it's hard to think of you, Professor. But I think jiu-jitsu online, it's been amazing and something that is beyond my expectation. The class has been awesome. Be able to train with distance. We are learning so much. But if I have to pick one, I think at home it's been a biggest challenge to me, because kids, when they wake up until they go to sleep, they don't stop. And you have to be like, man, full power, to be able to do everything, change diapers of 2 and play with them and educate them and do all that. My wife is my hero. She is all day with the kids, and she's an amazing mother. And if I have to pick one, at home, it's been a bigger challenge to me for sure. But it's been an incredible journey. I'm being honest with you guys. I love my kids. It's awesome, but it's not easy. Two at the same time is not easy, but it's awesome. I love challenges, and it's been incredible.
But just to make sure that you are saying that you've always been present and you now have been more present because of the circumstances, but I'm sure she understands. And then we all understand how hard it is, man. My God. And then sometimes we take for granted, but these times we realize the importance. And as you know, Fernanda is an amazing person, is an amazing wife, and an amazing mother as well. Like even Professor or Master Feitosa, for us, champion inside and outside of the mats, a role model to all of us. Also, Professor.
Thank you, Professor.
We can have another message here. Look, a good look, Professor, on your upcoming Barra Fit Challenge. We will do this together, support each other, challenge each other every day, and continue to improve. Come on. I want to see you.
Next Friday, guys. Next Friday live.
Oh, I will be watching. All right, guys. We're going to have one more question. I mean, we have a few more, but let's jump to the next one.
Hi, Coach Felipe. It's such an honor to have you a part of my MMA journey. And you're such a good influence on me in and outside the sport. You're always so happy, have a smile on your face, and stay so positive. And that is very contagious, and you rub off on everyone. So my question for you is more about life. I'm sure it's a very difficult question to answer, but you know me, I like to give you the difficult ones. But how do you stay so positive? How do you always have a smile on your face? And how are you the nicest person I've ever been around? Thank you, Coach, for everything, and I can't wait to train soon.
Awesome question. TJ,
nice.
The champ or UFC champ.
Thank you, TJ, for the question. TJ is one of the biggest athletes that I know. He's an amazing athlete. He's a great person, and I got to spend a lot of time with him through the last few years. Became a good friend with him. I love to train with him. He's an awesome. I learned a lot from him. He when we first started training together, he came to ask me to teach him jiu-jitsu and help him with the ground game. But I also learned a lot from him. He's a good martial artist. He has so much knowledge with the MMA, and I learn a lot. I always enjoy to train with him. We push each other. Every time we train, it's like a war. Like we go after each other hard and make us better, make him better, make myself better. It's awesome. TJ, thanks for the question. And that's a hard question, man. People ask me, well, how you were very nice. How you were so nice like this? I don't think I'm as nice as they say. But if they're saying, okay, I think it's my personality. Personality you cannot change. And like I mentioned earlier with the jiu-jitsu, when inside the mats we learn that everybody's the same. Teaches you how to treat everybody the same. And I think that's when you treat somebody nice and you smile, they have that impression, like good impression, good energy around. It's something that I always like to be a positive influence to people, and I like to bring positivity when I'm around people. That's who I am. It's not something that I do, like I push, I force to do. It's just like it's who I am. I'm glad you think I'm a nice person, and people say, hey, you're a nice person. So I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but it's something that it's good to hear when we hear like everybody saying that, and it's amazing. So I try to do my best, guys. It's being nice. I think it's just who I am. Thanks so much for the compliment.
Well, that's true. You've always been like a very contagious vibe, everywhere. I never see you sad. I never seen you complaining. I never always see you always very uplifting, motivating, and motivating others, and this is so cool. Like the only time that
Thank
I
you,
see
Prophet.
serious is on the moment when you just before getting to the mat. If you see someone walking by, when you look at it, you go smile, almost bite your own ears. All right, Tony, let's go for one more question. Come on, let's go. I love it.
Of course, I have a question for Furão. After the fight, we always have a post-fight picture with all the coaches, and right before on my title fight 5 years ago, Furão was the only guy to not be on the picture. So I have that picture at home, and people always ask me, "Where is Furão? Where was him when you guys took the picture?" And we had people that were not on the corner that was on the picture. Benil Dariush, great friend of mine, but he was on the corner, and he was on the picture. And people always ask me, "Where's Furão? Where was him?" And so, please answer us, Furão. Where were you? Valeu.
Great question, my brother Rafael dos Anjos, former UFC champion, a friend of mine from teenagers. Yes, guys, Rafael 5 years ago became a UFC lightweight champion, and that's funny because after you become a champion in UFC, you get out of the cage. There's a line of people want to talk to you. There's media, doctors, and all that. The moment we go to the cage before the fight, we go with our clothes. He's with his gloves, and everything else we leave in a locker room. We don't bring anything. All our bags, our wallet, our clothes, everything in the locker room. So what happens is, after his fight, everything started coming in, and I think he forgot something, or his wallet, or he needs his clothes or something. And all the interviews, ESPN, was Fox, and all that. And then, like, man, I need my shirt, whatever. And I say, no worries, stay here. I'm going to go to the locker room, and I'm going to grab the shirt. I'm going to grab your bag. I think I grabbed all the coaches' bags. And then at that moment, UFC made the official picture of him with his belt. He just beat Anthony Paris at that time, was the #1 pound for pound. And they took the pictures, all the crew, the coaches, the friends, and I wasn't there at that time. And then he hung his picture in his house, the pictures all over the place. And I was on his corner, but I wasn't on the picture. And people asked, man, where's Furão on the picture, on the most important picture? But anyways, I went to the locker room, guys, to pick his bag, and I missed the official picture. But not a big deal. I don't mind. I was there when he won the belt. The picture is just a small piece. I don't care much, but it's funny because everybody asks that.
That's funny. What matters is you are working, you are doing your job, and then what matters is like he knows how much you are important for his camp in the same way that TJ Delash also is very important. You were very important for his camp. So that's the more important thing, isn't it? Like pictures is for people to see, but what people feel, that's nobody can take.
For sure, Professor. I agree with you, for sure.
One more question. I have two more. Let's go.
Nice.
Professor Philip Furão, it's an honor to be here today asking you a question. I'm a longtime friend, but I'm also a big fan of you and all your accomplishments and everything that you do, not just for Jiu-Jitsu, but for Gracie Barra. Thank you for all the effort. You inspire us so much. I'm lucky to see you at HQ, learn from you, train with you. And my question for you today has to do with a habit that I see that you have and I admire so much. Even though you are known, especially outside Gracie Barra, as having a very strong, deep half guard game, and most people would be happy with that because you've done so much with it. But instead, throughout the years, I've seen you putting so much effort into becoming an expert in all areas of Jiu-Jitsu. Takedowns, self-defense, BJJ for MMA, sports competition Jiu-Jitsu, recreational Jiu-Jitsu, Jiu-Jitsu in general, what I like to call the complete Jiu-Jitsu. I want to know from you why you think it's important to put the time, to put the effort as an instructor, as a professor, to be comfortable teaching all areas of jiu-jitsu to your students.
Thank you, Professor Piu Piu, Marco Joca, my big brother, big reference to me. He is the highest rank professor here at GBHQ. He also teaches classes, and he's a guy that every time I have a question about technique or anything else, I always call him. He always answers. I talk to him a lot, and he's a big mentor to me. And I learned so much from him. He's an awesome professor. Thank you so much for the question, Professor. I got to spend a lot of time with you on the mat. And to answer your question, I believe like as a personal, challenge, as a personal thing that I have to me is like I have to have no holes on my game as far as jiu-jitsu. If a student asks me a question, I have to be able to answer, right? So that's the mindset that I have. And to teach class on a daily basis is very easy because they ask you so much questions. Your mind have to process that every single day. And I always pay attention on my weak side of the game. For example, I became a black belt and I wasn't very good on takedowns. Even that I was already a black belt. That was something that, man, always bothered me. I need to be able to take people down. And I start focusing a lot on that. Then after I start getting more comfortable on the takedown, I start dividing. Okay, I'm taking too much people down with double legs and wrestling style takedown. Now I need to incorporate the judo style. And then I do a lot of the judo style takedowns. And I use that for every part of the game. When I play too much close guard, now I play open guard. When I play much bottom, play top. Jiu-jitsu for MMA, to be able to teach the high-level MMA fighters that come train with us. One of the classes that I love the most to teach is self-defense in GB1. I teach GB1 class almost every day. And to be able to teach the white belt, they don't know what guard is. They don't know what hook is. And to explain to them, oh, your foot is the hook. The guard when you have your legs. And to be able to switch the explanation of techniques for a white belt, for a black belt. And the back of my mind is like to be a full black belt, to be considered a true black belt, we have to be good at everything. If it's for the takedown, takedown. If you pull guard, pull guard. And I use that to motivate myself to learn every single day. Jiu-jitsu is a sport that we keep learning. We cannot stop. And I learn so much every single day. I write down the techniques. I have a note on my phone, write down the techniques so I don't forget everything that I learn new. And I'm doing my best to be a better instructor for my students to be able to fulfill the goals, whatever is to be in the next champion, is to train with for recreation, to be in shape. So I'm trying to be there to help them as much as I can. Thank you, Professor, for the question.
That's awesome. Oh, Felipe, like you've always been very active, very always in shape. But when I look at you now, when I follow you on Instagram, and I'll check you out, and when you're doing exercise, it seems like you have been in your best shape in your life at the moment now. Is it or just looks like?
I think it is, Professor. And let me tell you this. Master Carlos Gracie Jr. is the biggest inspiration to me. And I'm lucky to be able to hang out with him often when he's here in California. And he's 63 years old, and he comes to the classes. He warm up. He trains with everybody. His performance on the mat is amazing. And I look at him like, man, I want to be like Master Carlos Gracie Jr. I want to be 60 years old. I want to be able to do things that he does. But I cannot wait until I get there to work on that. I need to start now. And more, I'm paying attention on my diet, pay attention on my training, more as a long-term plan to do my best to be able to handle hard training, because I love to train hard and push and train every day. But I realize that has to be a plan. I cannot do things. I have to be smart training. And, Professor, when we are 20, 25 years old, you can eat whatever you want. You can sleep or anywhere. Next day, you're fine. But then when after 30, right now I'm close to 35, if you don't sleep good at night, next day changes. If you eat something bad, next day, your performance is not the same. So more and more, I'm trying to learn and do things for the jiu-jitsu lifestyle to make myself better, to be a better example for my students, and also to have that goal, like for goal, man, when I'm 60, 70, my goal is to be able to keep training and keep training as much as I can. And part of doing that is to be in a good shape and take care of our body, which our body, our house that we live every day. We live in our body. We have to take care of our house, make sure our house is strong, our house is healthy, so we can push forward, right? That's kind of my mentality behind the motivation, the self-motivation to be able to keep pushing myself now. Yeah.
That's really good answer. And then how's your training consists on the weekly basis?
I do, Professor. In the morning, I always do 2 activities per day. My diet's really good. I do a morning workout, which is either a cardio, I run. Some days I lift weights. Right now in the quarantine, I have elastics and a couple weights on my garage. I lift weights. I stretch. Off the quarantine, I like to swim too. Wednesdays I swim. And running is something that I hate doing, but I do because I know it's good for me. So I start running more and tracking my running. And at night, every day, I train jiu-jitsu. I train for 2 hours. I teach classes, and then I train. It's something that is a priority on my day. Nothing. The time I'm teaching and my training at night, I don't do anything at that time. If it's a meeting, whatever it is, no, this is the priority of my day. I prioritize my training, something that I love to do that keeps me in shape, keeps me healthy mentally. And I train 6 times. Usually I train 6 times a week. Now with the quarantine, I'm doing a lot of the online classes, and I'm pushing myself as well. Do as much as I can for the jiu-jitsu, to fulfill the jiu-jitsu. And I train a little bit with the instructors that we're teaching class together. And we're showing techniques together. After the class, we do some drills as well to keep up with the technique and to be able to continue with the learning and all that. But not training as much now as normally, but doing my best. Now at this phase, I'm pushing more with the morning because I'm not able to train as much with jiu-jitsu. So I'm pushing more with the running, cardio, and making sure everything is ready. When as soon as we come back, we're going to come back stronger. That's the kind of mindset.
And you're definitely stronger than before, bro. I can tell you, man, my goodness. Actually, you might just beat this 300 challenge. I can't wait.
I don't know. That's going to be hard. I'll try. It's going to be hard.
All right. So one more question before we end with our Professor Márcio Feitosa.
Awesome.
Professor Felipe Della Mônica, Furãozinho, you are a big inspiration to all of us, school owners, instructors, athletes, students here in Brazil. We all know your journey. You made a decision on a very young age to travel outside Brazil to help grow Gracie Barra, to help expand Jiu-Jitsu across the globe. And you did build a beautiful legacy. You are now the head instructor for the Gracie Barra headquarters in Irvine, California. And my question for you is, what advices can you give to our young instructors, athletes, students that are here in Brazil, training jiu-jitsu, teaching jiu-jitsu, and have a dream that one day they can follow in your footsteps and travel outside Brazil to teach and to help develop our team and to help expand jiu-jitsu across the globe?
Thank you, Professor Márcio Feitosa. Guys, Professor Márcio Feitosa, before I answer the question, he is a person that has the most impact in my life as far as he's my biggest mentor. All the lessons that I learned inside the mat and inside and outside the mat, if I could write it down, it would be like a big book, because learning how to be professional, teaching outside the mat, how to do things in life, he's a person that I had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with him. And if I am here where I am today as the head instructor and doing the work that I'm doing, and I can say that I'm here, one of the persons that mentored me to be here where I am today is Professor Márcio Feitosa. I wouldn't be here without the opportunity that he gave to me together with Master Carlos, but he was the person that I always have the close contact, and I learned so much from him. He's a every time I see him speaking like this, man, it makes me, my heart pumps, and it's the person that I love, and I care so much about him, and I owe him so much that he teach me so much. He's a big person in my life. And Professor, to answer your question, my advice for people that wants to be an instructor later, who wants to focus on that, focus on grow jiu-jitsu, is to first do the ICP, take advantage of the ICP. On my time, I didn't have the ICP. I learn every year when I do, but for now, you have that opportunity. Do that, learn everything, learn from your instructor, learn how to teach, be professional at teaching. I made a lot of mistakes teaching. I learned from it. I became better after. I still make mistakes. I recognize I get better. So learn from your own mistakes as well. Okay. Try your best to not make mistakes, but none of us are perfect. We will make mistakes. We have to learn from it and be better every day. And the biggest thing is be professional. Take teaching serious as we taking training serious. For example, I'm proud to say that I teach in class United States for 13 years. I was never late for one class in 13 years. I know some things, crazy things can happen. A flat tire, your car can break. Luckily, it didn't happen with me, and I never late for one single class in 13 years. So be professional, show professionalism, improve yourself to be a better instructor, learn new techniques, be open-minded, learn from your students. Our students teach us so much. Pay attention to your students, learn from them, and my students are a big inspiration to me. I learned so much from them. It's the other way around. How much we learn from students is incredible. So I learn from them each single day. But focus on the teaching, didacticism, the teaching methodology, the same way as you focus on your jiu-jitsu training, and you're gonna be a good jiu-jitsu instructor if you do that. That's my advice to you. I'm improving myself every single day by watching others. For example, teaching GB online, I watch Professor Braulio, I watch Professor Draculino, everybody who taught the classes. And then when it was my day to teach the class, I felt I was ready because Professor Braulio set the standard. Professor Draculino set the standard. So when I watched the classes, I wasn't only paying attention on the techniques, I was also paying attention how they position themselves on the mat, how they communicate, how they share the techniques, and it's something that we keep learning from other higher ranks and better instructors like Professor Braulio and Draculino, many others, all the people that are teaching classes online, Professor Márcio Feitosa. And it's a learning process, guys. Learning as much as you can, all aspects of the game.
Awesome, awesome question, awesome answer. So, Filipão, just to finalize here before we go, how, like, you are the one that's, you jumped into forces to give the classes online, you join forces, always on the front line, and always offering that to help us, and always being also our reach. You always being our reach because you lead such a good example. And how has been the experience, and then how is your view before the Zoom classes and after the Zoom classes on your personal level, and how you see Gracie Barra as in an organization before and after? What are your observations?
Great question, Professor. To be honest with you, when we first ended up facing the situation that the whole world is facing, everybody, it's great. We have that extra challenge, we have that struggle. And when the first came the idea of, okay, the school is going to be closed, it's going to be doing the transition to the online. So we cannot be training at normal group classes. What can we do to not close the school, right? Let's put it that way. And then we came the idea of the online. And then we continue the training. At first, I was like, man, I don't know if this is going to work. I was thinking, I don't know. When I taught the first class, Professor, I was so happy because I was like, man, this really works. I had a great workout. I had a great training. I was able to go through the drills of the technique. And I was so happy. And I was like, but man, a lot of people might have the same impression that I had it. We need to get everybody to do these classes so they know what we're talking about, because we cannot express in words. You have to experiment to see, And I'm really happy right now with all the classes that we are doing. to be able to provide training to our students at home online, and and to be able all the development of the solo drills that we are doing on a daily basis, the development of adaptation of jiu-jitsu training. I think it's only going to make jiu-jitsu better because it's so much things. Our mobility is better. Everything is better. We are put on this situation, and I think we're going to grow from that. The online platform is something that it's been amazing. Even after we come back to regular class, I think we're going to be utilizing this because it's been an incredible experience to reach more people around the world. And I think this is the positive side of this situation because we are learning from it. It's been a big lesson for us related to jiu-jitsu and outside jiu-jitsu, but it's making us better. It's making us facing this and see, they have the mindset of jiu-jitsu to be able to deal with everything and stay positive and push forward. And it's been incredible, Professor. I really enjoy the online classes, and the feedback from the students being awesome as well. And to be able to train, for example, with you are there in UK, I'm here in California. I feel I can have a class with you, live, and then I have class with people from all over the world. We are learning so much and really breaking a lot of barriers with the distance and be able to connect. The connection has been amazing.
That's for sure, my friend. That's for sure, man. I'm actually the same way. I'm thinking the same way. I think a lot of us learning on this process, and not only as a professor but also as students. And I think it will, when we all this pass, every students that are being on Zoom classes or on the online classes, they will become even better students when they come back. And we who is teaching will become even more better as a professors. I think all this has been showing a lot of positivity, and I'm really glad we have this mindset to be ready to learn on any possibilities that we reach. And then this is like the champion of the jiu-jitsu mentality, and yeah, man, think on the positive, and as soon we all will be back on where we love to be the most. But Professor Felipe, man, it was such an amazing experience to be here, to listen, to get your stories, to get motivated, inspired, and then with always this energy so contagious, and so good to see everyone who was part of the questions, see how they see you, how much they admire you, not only as an athlete, but as a professor, and also as a part of the brotherhood. But thank you very much, Professor, for that. It was been amazing.
Professor Braulio, thanks so much, my brother. It's a big honor for me here to be able to talk with everybody, but also to talk with you, who is a big inspiration to me. It's awesome to have that conversation, learn from you, and participating on that. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I want to congratulate you because you are one of the best communicators in Gracie Barra, and for the way you communicate and do this show and talk to everybody, it's very inspiring to me. I'm trying to learn and be a good communicator as you are. It's been besides all your accomplishments in jiu-jitsu as being one of the greatest of all times, to also be a black belt in communication, man. This is awesome. You are true talent, and it's amazing.
We learned, but thanks for the words. Well, se cuida, brother. So good to see you. It's been a long time. I was looking forward to go to the world to get, as I always go, to get to know you even more, like to hang out and share. But this time is not possible. But as soon as we are able to go to California, my man, I'll be there and hanging out as usual. Okay, so be safe. Kisses on the family. Have a good weekend.
Thanks so much, Professor. Have a great weekend. Thank you.
Filipão, always a good blast, to be with him, and